from the dead. Are you ready? Let's go.
Back from the dead.
We're back from the dead.
Hell yeah.
We're back from the dead. Back from the dead.
That's the one, right?
I think so. Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have tech support on my side at the moment. We are doing something we've never done before, which is going live simultaneously on YouTube and Facebook. We weren't sure how to do it. We had to download 2 separate programs. As you can see, we're using kind of a background image that I also use for Twitch, which I absolutely love. So I'm so excited. I'm nervous because we're like, Blake has been setting this up for like days.
Can you hear us on YouTube?
If you guys can hear us, can you just give us like a shout out on chat to make sure that you can hear us? Just want to like confirm audio's good. And on Facebook, if anyone's watching on Facebook. Just want to confirm. I don't think anyone's on Facebook, but I do think there's some people on YouTube. We kind of lag behind on...
Can you, just minimize both those windows?
Both of these?
Yeah, don't exit them.
Okay. Is that right?
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
scared to touch anything. Like, I don't want... I don't want all the work that Blake's put into this to just, like, go down. So, are we good? Is this good? This is Facebook, right?
Yes.
I'm scared to touch anything. Like, I think Blake's double checking me. And this is YouTube.
Is on.
It is?
Yeah.
Just give us 1 sec, guys. I promise once we try this a few times, it won't be, like, waiting like this. We're just making sure we're doing everything right. It's still so new. How fancy does this look, though, even for YouTube? This is, like, super exciting. We're good?
Yes.
Yay. Audio's good. Woohoo. Okay. I unfortunately can't see any comments, so if we can go back and answer comments later, I'll go back and re-answer comments later. And Blake will also be online trying to answer any questions that you guys have. I have Chanel on, basically waiting to go live with me. I want to make sure that I do this right as well, which is transferring her over to the live screen. Give me 2 seconds, guys. This is so cool. I'm so glad that Blake is smart with tech. And let me just give a shout out to all of the family on the Discord channel.
Okay. It will be laggy. It's because we're running it on 2.
Okay, so I might be a little laggy, Blake said.
It should be okay, and it will operate the same way. Just make sure that you turn on... No, it should be fine when you change over.
Okay, so when I go to change over to Chanel, I have to unmute her. And
on Discord.
On Discord, and then I have to IRL both screens.
Yeah, IRL plus.
IRL plus. Okay, cool. I think I'm good. Let me just tag everybody on Discord. Hey, would you mind sharing the Discord link in chat, Blake?
Yeah.
If you guys don't have Discord, it's been something that I kind of brought to life once I officially like left YouTube at the beginning of the year. Discord's a free app you can download, and I've given access to everybody for Discord. And basically it's just like the paranormal community. So if you have paranormal stories or advice that you need, you can go in there and chat with anybody 24/7 without judgment. And there's an actual subscriber room as well if you're a subscriber to like our Patreon or our Twitch channel. So let me just let everybody know in Discord that Chanel and I are live on YouTube. Feels good to be back. I had a little bit anxiety coming back in. I know there's a lot of questions people are wanting to know, so I thought I'd briefly kind of cover that before we bring Chanel in officially. So as you guys know, I got kind of really screwed by YouTube at the beginning of the year, and I had to make the decision ultimately to leave YouTube because financially it was hurting us more than it was helping us. And first made the move to Twitch. It went really well. It is free. It's twitch.tv/Krystal Leandra. Twitch has been going great. I have subscribers on there. Shout out to my subscribers because they have been helping us fund the bigger project that we have going. Then eventually we did add on a Patreon page. The Patreon page is patreon.com/ghostgirldiaries, no spaces. And Patreon's completely different. You're getting more like behind the scenes stuff of like what we're actually doing in production. All of the girls post on there, which is Chanel, Kat, and Brittany. They've been out here a few times to Vegas to train. We went to California, oh God, let's see, about 2 weeks ago. Had a lot of fun. But long story short is, I've always missed YouTube, but from now on I'm going to have to go live. I don't have a choice. I don't have the time to edit. So for those of you that have missed out what's been happening, I actually made the decision to become the executive producer of Ghost Girl Diaries, the series. And I've invested with Blake like about $20,000 into brand new like 4K camera gear and equipment, along with my subs from Patreon and Twitch helping me achieve those goals. And we actually have 2 seasons of Ghost Girl Diaries, the series, fully booked. It will not be released via social media. We're hoping to go through major streaming services. We are also against going to cable, so it will not be seen on cable. We're shooting for like Hulu, Netflix, possibly Amazon, but definitely Netflix is our #1 goal. We are buying all equipment to their requirements and standards, which is not 1080 HD, which is what's required for cable. We're beyond that. We're going to 4K cams. So the girls have been training with Blake on all 4K camera gear. They officially went through Krystal's film school, and they were training with me with film books for like the past 4 months. I've been teaching them everything I know on film, and they've been studying and they've been doing great. So that's where we're at. That's why I haven't been on YouTube. I have bigger goals that I'm wanting to achieve. As much as I miss you guys on YouTube, Twitch has been wonderful because it's been smaller to interact, and then my Patreon subs are like the really, really hardcore fans. And they have been like a blast to interact with. So miss my YouTube subscribers, but unfortunately it wasn't my choice to leave YouTube. It was kind of a forced situation from the universe, and miss you guys so much. So we decided, now that we've done training with the girls and we've been working like really hard with all of the girls for them to learn, I finally said, to Kat, Chanel, and Britt, are you guys open to going back on YouTube, except let's do like live videos once a week? And they were like thrilled, like super excited. So yesterday I had Brittany. She's like our newbie of the group. She's never done a lot of paranormal investigating. She's never done a lot of filming. I'm hoping that she kind of connects with you guys as someone that you could look up to, as like, okay, this girl doesn't have a lot of experience, but she can become something in this field, so can I. So Brittany was on the Twitch channel yesterday. It was twitch.tv/Krystal Leandra. It is free to watch, okay? You can have the choice to subscribe, but it is free. If you guys go on there and watch the stream from Brittany and I, Brittany will be doing a giveaway later. And if you go to my Twitter, which is Krystal_Leandra, find Brittany's handle. We've been tweeting this morning. Follow Brittany on Twitter. She's going to be giving away like 2 or 3 Twitch subscriptions today from our stream. But she'll be asking people to give input on things that we talked about on the stream on Twitch yesterday. So go watch that stream. It's free. Twitch.tv/Krystal Leandra, all one word. And then in the meantime, I'm going to bring in Chanel. So Chanel is really cool. I call Chanel kind of my twinsy. We tend to have a lot of the same interests. We like the same food. We like the same clothes. we both are into like really dark makeup. When we have those days, like I always say Wednesday Addams versus like Barbie, right? Like dark Barbie. So anyway, Chanel, I'm going to bring her in. She's actually in her hometown. She's in Pennsylvania at the moment. So give me just 2 seconds to bring her in. I'm not going to put you guys on hold. Normally on Twitch, I would put you guys on like a be right back screen, but I'm not going to do that. All right, Chanel, can you hear me? Yay, we're live. I can't believe it worked. So we are streaming both on Facebook and YouTube, so you want to say what's up to all of our fans. Yeah. Yeah, she's sick. It's because, like, you know, Chanel's been wanting to move to Vegas. She loves Vegas. And I told her, she went home and she got sick. I was like, it's because your body was like, why didn't you just move to Vegas, right? Oh, man. So she's losing her voice. I called her yesterday and I was like, are you feeling well? Do you still want to go on live with me? And she's like, heck yeah, I want to go live. Like, I'm totally going to go live. So I was just saying, Chanel, like, Chanel was on mute, so she couldn't hear what I was saying. So I'm just going to kind of repeat that. Is that you and I are kind of like twinsies, is what I was telling everybody. And Chanel is kind of like me at her age. Like, Chanel's 22. Except she's very wise. Like, we always call Chanel, like, the old soul of the group. She has, like, 400 past lives is what we were guessing or something. We love Chanel. She's awesome. So yeah, we're both into, like, the dark makeup. We're both into, like, obviously dark nail polish. You just got a view of her little nail polish there. Dark clothes. Like, she literally went shopping in my closet one time. She was in Vegas, and she's like, we wear the same stuff, like the exact same stuff. So Chanel has experience working on set. She has worked on set before, so she was one that was easier to kind of train. In fact, when I sent you guys the film books that I wanted you guys to study from, you had already studied that film book. Which is hilarious, because you were like, oh, I got this in the bag. You're like, which is good. That means I chose a good film book if it was something that you actually, like, studied in film school. It is. Brittany was taking some hardcore notes on it. Yeah, she was, like, writing note cards. Like, she was, like, dead serious about it. She, when you guys came to Vegas in October, she was like, I'm writing notes for myself so I can study on the plane. I'm transferring all my notes. I was like, Brittany, like, she's hardcore. She wants to learn, which I love. So, anyway, Chanel has been on set for a couple of different series on Netflix. She gets, like, the whole production side. She does camera work. She's, like, our videographer, camera tech. She is officially camera 2 for Ghost Girl Diaries, so that's a big deal. And so first, like, what do you think of the 4K camera gear that we're, like, getting in that you've gotten to work with? Yeah, we've talked about how one thing we think is lacking in paranormal is really, really good cinematography shots. And Chanel's like, we need cinematography. Like, that's what tells the story, basically. So I love that Chanel's hardcore about it. Okay, so let's first conquer the beast of the Ghost Adventures live episode that we watched. And I know right now there's 2 sets of people. There is one group of people that is, like, really, really angry with Zach and the crew. And then he still has, like, the really hardcore fans.
Did you turn on desktop audio?
Wait a second. Blake's in here.
You didn't turn desktop audio on for OBS. Other one.
This one?
Other one. They can't hear Chanel.
Oh, they can't hear Chanel? You guys will have to go rewatch Facebook for the first few minutes because I didn't turn the audio on for YouTube. So everything we just said, they didn't hear you. I'm sorry. Just go to YouTube or go to Facebook. It'll be there. I'm sorry. Test it for me and let me know, will you? I'm sorry, guys. We're learning, you know? Like, I told Chanel we're going to be running a few minutes late because, like, I don't, this is still new to me. I have no idea. Like, this feels so fancy to me compared to what I've been, like, dealing with in the past, like, even editing for YouTube. And, like, thank God I've had practice with Twitch because now I'm, like, better at being live. And so, anyway, I'm sorry you couldn't hear Chanel. You're just going to have to go to Facebook and watch the first few minutes. So, okay. We're going to talk about The Beast, which is what I said, which is basically the Ghost Adventures Live episode. And like I was saying, there's two sets of people that are hardcore fans and then people that have kind of turned against Ghost Adventures. The controversy was that the bishop walked... Was it a bishop? Is that who it was?
I think it was the rabbi.
Rabbi, that's right.
Yeah.
The rabbi walked on set, said something like, "That's not on the script" or something, and then everybody freaked out, thinking that Zach was scripted. And then, like, it was really awkward and weird because, like, Zach was walking ahead of the rabbi. No one really knows what's going on, and then all of a sudden, like, a few minutes later, the episode's done, basically. So he went on, he did like an interview on YouTube, I think it was Dakota's YouTube channel, with the rabbi, and the rabbi was like saying nothing's scripted, and Zach was basically, kind of blaming his production crew. Is that what you got out of that video?
Yeah, and it was weird because he said something to the effect of no one informed the rabbi, which is weird, like that he was going to be on live, which didn't make sense to me because I feel like the person would kind of have to know that they're on live TV, you know?
Well, legally, in my opinion, just from being on set, and I don't know how you feel, but legally I think they have to tell him he's about to go live.
Right.
Or else the production is like facing possible... not only scrutiny, but possibly being sued,
Yeah.
Because, like, he could have gone live on TV, the rabbi, and, like, said something inappropriate by accident, like, I have to take a piss, or I have to take a like, right? Like, so that's why you're warned before you go live. Like, you're usually warned before that. So, I find it awkward to talk about, obviously, because I know Zach personally, so it's like I sit between a rock and a hard place on that. I also don't know, remember, like, let's back this up for, 9 months. Discovery officially purchased the Travel Channel last December. And we don't know what happened with, like, Discovery coming in and, like, changing the requirements of Ghost Adventures. Which, on set, if a network takes over, things could change dramatically. You just don't know.
Right.
And Zach may not have had a choice, unfortunately. So, it's awkward, to say the least. I feel bad for Zach, like I said in our other live video. I feel bad for him. I feel like he was probably upset and embarrassed. But the only other question I had that wasn't really answered in the interview that he had done with the rabbi afterwards is if he's blaming the producers and the production on set, why was he walking so far ahead of the rabbi during the live video? And he got, like, annoyed. You could tell there... Did you think there was, like, annoyance or, like, anger or something? Like, he just seemed like he was not happy with him.
No, yeah, you could definitely feel some tension between them. I actually, honestly, kind of, and I don't know if I'm just, like, taking something that's not there, but I sort of felt a lot of tension between all of the crew, to be honest, during the live.
Right. I did, too. I felt like no one knew where to go. Everyone felt awkward and uncomfortable. I even thought Zach was really acting odd on screen. And I think maybe it's because he hasn't done a lot of live videos. It was definitely different than he's ever had. You have been on set. You clearly also saw that he had some sort of an earpiece in, which was the producers cueing him to, like, go to break. So that is probably new for him, right? Like, he's not used to that. So you could tell when he would kind of take pauses and have to, like, think about what they were, like, saying.
Yeah, it was just, it was very awkward to watch. I'm not quite sure if that's even a word either, but it wasn't like the same Zach as you see on a regular episode of Ghost Adventures.
No.
It's like you see him on Ghost Adventures, you think, oh, he's gonna be the same for this too. It's gonna be so cool. And then you see that he's not, or at least something's going wrong. Because I know he also mentioned he was sick as well.
Yeah, he said he was sick.
So,
well, and, like, I don't know, I felt like anxiety. I don't know, like, if it was... I know that he talked about on social media, like, the Dybbuk box can cause people to do weird things and be distressed. I get that,
right.
but it seemed like it was more than that. To me, it was, like, the nervousness of the production in general. Because it was so different. But I just felt like it was hard to... You're right. Like, it was hard. Like, we were watching it together. All of us. And it was literally hard to watch for us. We were just like, what is... Like, I remember Kat just saying, I don't know what's going on. Like, what is going on? You know?
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
so I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to go too much more into it. Because that's not my battle to fight, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like that's his battle to fight with whatever happened. And it's like, I'm trying to, like, exclude myself from that just because it was so weird. And, like, I don't know what happened either. I can't explain it. The only thing that I can make sense of it is that Discovery purchased, you know, Travel Channel and changed requirements or something. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think it has something to do with bigger than Zach, is my opinion. And I don't think Zach had, like, an opinion on it or, like, could change it. Oh, that was, like, tension just talking about it.
No.
Okay, so let's move on to last week's episode, which is Idaho Reformatory episode. Did you watch it?
I did. I got to watch it. I think I actually kind of missed, like, the last 10 minutes of it.
Okay.
So.
There wasn't a ton at the end. So this is St. Anthony, Idaho. It's interesting, if you guys saw the episode, they gave flash images of some actual articles that were in newspapers, and Kat is so awesome. She found the articles. So I'm gonna go. Oh yeah, she kicks butt. Like, she's the shiz. Kat is she's one of our producers for Ghost Girl Diaries. So this is one of the articles, if you guys remember, and it's actually 2 pages, and this is another article. It's smaller though. It's just this, like, little portion. So I'll read that when we get to that point. So it says that, you know, first of all, I'm just gonna say that it didn't feel ominous when they just pulled up to the location. Like, the buildings looked dark, and, like, the sky looked dark, and obviously that wasn't, they can't create that. That's just, like, Mother Nature. So it's once again correlating things I've said in the past of sometimes these places do have such dark energy that it will be portrayed through things like the energy of the sky. But before I even knew where they were going, I was like, that place just seems like it's so dark. Did you feel that too?
Yeah, oh my gosh. Of course. It's like, it's true too what they say about feeling things through your screen as well.
I agree with that. Sometimes if I watch something and I empath in on it by accident, I'm like, I feel like I can smell, like, what the building smells like. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Do you get that? Like, random, like, scents, like, clairsentient?
Yes, it's weird. It's like really hard to explain.
And when that happens, you're like, what is going on? Like, I feel like I know what the building smells like. So this was where children were taken basically against their will. Sometimes they were in bad conditions, and sometimes the children basically committed suicide in order to get out of potentially some of the abuse that they were facing there. It was basically like a children's home / girls' home. The only thing I was kind of confused about from the beginning of the episode was they had mentioned something in the narrative about confronting the darkness that's been ignited on the terror of children. But, you know, even though this was the beginning of the episode, right when they started talking about history, the first thing I didn't think about was the acts of darkness. It was how many children are here that haven't crossed over because of how dark it is. So, like, for me, for us going into a location like that, I would have been more apt to connect with the little, dead kids that may have been tortured or killed themselves or murdered that didn't cross over versus, like, whatever the darkness was. I don't know how'd you feel about it?
Well, any location dealing with children or even animals, like if animals pass away somewhere, it's always, there's such a soft spot for me because, I mean, children and animals, like there's the most innocent things, basically. And I don't know, I feel like it...
Oh, Blake just walked in. Pause. That means something's going on with the audio. 1 second.
No, it's not audio.
Oh, it's not audio. Okay. See? Welcome to live. Welcome to Facebook Live. Welcome to Twitch. No, I'm just kidding. It's like, well, Twitch we have down. We have that down. But this is still new. I'm sorry, Chanel. I didn't mean to cut you off. I don't know what Blake's doing. He's 24/7 tech support.
We're just a little laggy on the YouTube side.
Oh, you're laggy. Okay.
I'm just trying to adjust.
No, it's like generally laggy, apparently.
Just trying to adjust bandwidth settings.
Only on the YouTube side, apparently. So.
Yeah, Facebook is going really smooth.
Facebook is smooth, apparently, but...
Facebook.
I know. Good job, Facebook. I think this is like the first time we've ever streamed live on Facebook. Like, I've just never... Well, we just recently started posting back on Facebook.
Hopefully that works.
Okay, Blake changed something. So, fingers crossed it works. Because I don't know. Where I'm watching looks perfectly fine. But that's because I'm on, like, the software side. Okay, so what were you saying about the little kids now? You said that it seemed like it was dark. Did you lose your train of thought?
Yes.
See, this is how Chanel and I are in person, guys. You just get to see us like normal. I was saying that, like, I wouldn't have looked for the dark spirits. I would have been looking for the little kids that were, like, tortured.
Yes. Yeah. Totally same here. I would have been trying to emphasize, like, the children part, not so much the dark part, because I know that it's a dark place, because when you have something like suicide in general, it's going to make the energy darker. But I think I would have gone into more of like the compassionate side of things, where you're talking about a little girl who committed suicide.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, that's sort of like, okay, she had to be in such a sad state of mind to do something like that,
Well, yeah, to hang yourself, and I mean, no matter what age, 16, 14,
Right.
10, like, to even consider that is like, wow. To me, that's like really, really dark. Like, you must be in a really bad place that you're wanting to escape that bad. Because, I don't know, as a child, you should be, like, very free, I think, and not have any stress or worries.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, we do know that Ghost Adventures, that's their thing, is that they look for, like, the demons constantly and the darkness and, like, which sometimes drives me crazy, because I'm sorry, but it's just, you're not going to find it everywhere. You're not going to always find demons.
And what was that?
No, I'm just listening.
I honestly didn't get a demonic vibe at all.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought, like, it just seemed like such a sad place,
Mm-hmm.
like, as a whole. And sadness doesn't necessarily equate to darkness,
Mm-hmm.
in a sense, because if you relate sadness to a dark place or, like, demonic, it kind of, it really...
It's
pushes
polar
out.
opposite. Well,
Yeah.
so here's the thing, too, guys. I want you to know, Chanel has the next most experience with paranormal to me, okay, out of the group. And so Chanel and I have had many conversations about this where, like, you and I have been trying to teach Kat and Brittany, because they're still new with paranormal, which is when
Right.
you run into something truly demonic, you know. Like, there's no question on if it's sad or depressing. Like they will let you know, and like they like to be intimidating and dark. And I've said it before, like it's extremely rare to run into something totally demonic. Now, if you're talking about something that's like negative, even like maybe the nurses that like tortured the kids or whatever, the doctors, I don't know, I still wouldn't expect them to stay behind as much as I would be more apt to running into an angry child that just doesn't trust adults that never crossed over. Is that how you felt about it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. It's super sad. It was really I felt the same just watching the episode. I was like, when I say dark, I mean like in an extremely depressive state. I don't mean dark as in like demonic or even like negative. I think it was just empathing what the children had gone through, which is just horrible. So let's see, in 1903 it said it was, I have notes here since I'm live. I'm sorry guys, it's just different when I'm live, you know what I'm saying? So it was a girls' dormitory, and then it lasted basically till the end of the 20th century. And so there's the husband and wife that you guys saw. I was actually shocked when Zach was interviewing them. I think it was Barrett and Demi Olsen. I didn't totally like zone in on that. That's what I'm just quoting. She said she'd been bitten. That like shocked me?
Yeah.
And I was shocked that Zach didn't react bigger.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of like was like, you were bitten.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of, I feel like they didn't really go into that, did they?
A little bit in the end. Yeah, like at the end they said, like she said, I think I saw teeth marks, and then Zach was kind of like shocked by it. But like in the very beginning, I was just kind of shocked that like if someone were to tell me they'd been bitten, like to me that's huge, because I've never like all the places I've been, I've never been bitten, and I've never heard of someone being bitten.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes sense. Like if you would think back to the kids, if they were being abused by the staff, whether it was doctors or nurses or just regular people like teachers or like overseers, like innkeepers, they probably would have bitten someone in order to like get free of them, right?
Self-defense kind of.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially when you're a child, you don't know any better, and if you're being hurt, I guess that's the only mechanism you could do. Okay, so from there, so you were shocked too, though. I'm just glad, because I've never even heard of that before. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, that's crazy. There was an autistic brother that came out.
Yeah.
And
he was so cute.
I know. I have a cousin with autism, and
Me too.
do you? Yeah. So there's another thing Chanel and I have in common. We're weird. Literally, like we even have dreams, like similar dreams at night. It's so weird. Like
we were talking about that literally today.
So weird. Like Chanel woke up and she texted this like she's like, oh my god, I had this dream. Da, 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 da. And I was like, I had a similar dream, which is really weird. And then Kat and Brittany are like, nope, I slept like a baby. Everything was fine. I'm like, God. So this kid has autism that he comes out. I really liked his name. What was it like?
Magnum.
Magnum. What a cool name was that? Like I was like, that's cool. So he had autism. He claimed that he had spiritual interaction. And I don't know. I guess I was a little concerned with how Zach was communicating with him, considering that he knew he had autism. I don't know how you felt about it. Just because I have a cousin with autism, I just felt like he could have taken a few seconds to like research on his phone how to communicate. Like he was like leaning against the wall and kind of like overshadowing him. And you're not supposed to make people with autism feel like intimidated or inferior. And I'm sure Zach didn't know, so I'm not blaming him. But like if I were doing an interview and I wasn't sure how to approach the situation, I would try to like research it really fast.
Yeah, and so like what I've learned about autism just from having a family member with it is that they have a heightened senses, or so like, for example, my cousin cannot communicate with words,
Right.
so he does with like vibrations, and he like sounds and everything, and he also like noises are more heightened for him. Like, he hears things a lot louder than what a normal person would hear, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I understand like what you're saying with Zach's body language. He seemed kind of, at first he seemed open to Magnum, and but a little too open, because I know what you're saying with he's just like leaning against the wall, and then he kind of got closed off. He like put his cross his arms, which to that in body language is kind of like a, you know, it's a closed off thing. It's like you're protecting yourself,
right?
Kind of thing.
Well, and like they have a hard time sometimes with eye contact and stuff like that.
Yes.
And so with Zach's hand all the way up here, he probably wasn't sure where to look. You know what I mean? Like, and as if it was already hard. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's already hard. But just, you know, I guess maybe more of a soft tone, more approachable. It just concerned me a little bit, and that's only because I've interacted, you know, like I said, family and friends with autism, and it's difficult. And I'm the kind of person that I try to make people, especially people that I'm interviewing, because I've obviously interviewed strangers that I've never met. I try to make people feel as comfortable as possible when I'm in that situation with them, no matter what the case is. And clearly reading body language too is definitely something, but when there's a medical condition that's happening, I don't know, just more sensitive is all I would have liked to see, is just to be a little bit more sensitive. Chanel agreed with me. We chatted about this kind of previously. Just when you do have family with autism, you kind of understand. And even if he didn't, I'm not like blaming him, but I wish a producer or someone on set would have stepped in to like help Zach and been like, okay, let's approach this the right way to make him feel like most comfortable. That's just me being my empath self, though. I think as an empath, you're always looking out for others more than you are yourself, which sometimes can be annoying because you tend to like forget about yourself. But that's just who I am. That's just how I felt about it. Let's see here. Okay, so we have like the oppressive, dark, depressing stuff. He said, the autistic kid says Magnum, right? Is that right? I love that name. Like, love it. Girl Spirit. It is so cool. It's very rare. I just like it. Girl Spirit is living here under my bed. And then he says there's a not nice girl and boy that come outside to scare him and stop him from trying to work. Like, I think he said he mowed the lawn. But the girl spirit upstairs in his room, like, makes sure that the bad spirits don't bother him. So it's interesting because Zach did mention something like he's studied autism and he's correlated autism with people that have spiritual interaction. And I have found that to be true, that sometimes people with autism are much more in tune with the other side. Which to me can be like cool, but it could also be dangerous. You wouldn't want someone that's autistic going into like a horribly dark, like demonic sort of location. But yeah, I found that to be accurate as well. And I felt really bad for him though, because he said that these two spirits are bad and like they try to scare him. I felt really bad for him. And then they later cut to another interview where Zach was going back to the married wife and husband, which is the brother of Magnum. And he was like, yeah, I guess I didn't know that was happening. I guess I'm going to have to like watch out for that more. I'm like, dude, I would be so much more concerned. Wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yes, of course.
And I would have really been verbalizing it a lot more than just hearing it from like, thank God I guess Zach found out and like reported it to them. Because it's like, you guys haven't known that this is happening. Like, that's scary. He may not be comfortable telling them what was happening, you know? The girl goes upstairs, obviously, like, she protects him. So anyway, then they talked about the girl that hung herself. And her name's Hope. So this is where the article comes in. And so I felt like I didn't get the best visual. I don't know how you felt. Of like the house inside. I couldn't tell if like how close the room was where Hope hung herself versus where Magnum stays? Could you tell?
I'm just trying to remember how because I feel like we didn't really get to see, like you said, the inside of the house until the investigation.
Well, and clearly it's a big house.
Yeah.
So I was still like, where is it, like down the hall? Is it the same floor? Like I just felt like it wasn't very clear.
I want to say it was the same floor.
I think it was. It was huge. That house is big. Like, I would be afraid to live in that just because, not even the haunted, it's just so big with all those rooms from being a dormitory. I was like, I was thinking you guys should turn that into like an inn. And like make it a haunted inn. I was like, that would be like way better than just being like a personal house, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the actual article that was shown. It was briefly pictured from Zach on like B-roll footage. So I just wanted to kind of go over this really quickly. So this is the one about Hope. Girl's body found at State Industrial School. Coroner it says terms death suicide. This was March 18th. The body of Hope Chacon, Chacon, 14-year-old Mexican inmate of the Idaho State Industrial School, was found hanging in her room Monday afternoon. She was taken to Pocatello, which is, I'm assuming, some sort of like a hospital or something like that. Oh no, it says Pocatello for burial services, so that's probably where she was buried. This is from, I guess, the superintendent reported. It says the girl's body was discovered by a matron of the school. So that's probably someone that's taking care of the girls, right? The matron was alarmed when she couldn't get into the girl's room. She called another officer to force their way into the girl's room, finding her body where she'd been hanging from a noose fashioned out of belt and tied to the door. After a brief investigation, let's see, this goes on to the next page. The police were called to the school in the afternoon and the young girl was found. This is a big article for just a suicide. It says that Hope had some trouble with another girl in school, so probably being bullied is what I'd assume. The two were placed in separate rooms. It says she'd been brooding over the trouble as well as what had termed an unhappy home life. The superintendent said that she was neurotic and emotionally unbalanced. Let me just say, I don't know what 14-year-old girl isn't neurotic and unbalanced. I mean,
you're not wrong.
I mean, like, you're going through growth, hormonal changes, like, sorry, but, like, I'm pretty sure every 14-year-old girl is being neurotic and unbalanced. Like, let's be real here. But that's kind of, like, that's cold to say, isn't it? Like, oh, she committed suicide. She was neurotic and emotionally unbalanced anyway. Like, that's horrible. It says the girl evidently removed a cord belt from her dress. She stood on a chair next to the door, tied the belt around her neck, and hooked the other end through the transom? What's a transom? Transom. I feel like since we're live, I'm going to have to Google that, y'all. I'm sorry. Transom. Definition. I just want to be clear. Transom is a flat surface or a horizontal beam. Okay. A crossbar, particularly over a window or a door. Says Mr. Hansen termed the girl's death as suicide. The girl was first committed to the institution in 1939 for general delinquency. Can you imagine just being a parent and being like, my daughter is delinquent, you have to take her and just like pawn her off to like a girl's home? And I mean, seriously, at that age, like, you're gonna be, you know, so sad. Mr. Newberry continued that she was paroled in September of 1940, and then she returned in December of the same year because she had broke parole. She is survived by her mother. I don't want to pronounce this name wrong. Pabelita, last name Chacon, Chacon, of Pocatello, Pocatello. She also had 4 sisters and 3 brothers. Wow, so she was from a really big family. Well, that's just depressing. Like, I don't even know what else to say.
I'm just like sitting here like, jeez.
Isn't that, I mean, that's a huge, or that's like the full article is 2 pages. I've never seen, I mean, obviously this was like old school days, but this middle section is the full article. And, you know, normally they don't release that many details about a death, but gosh, that's really sad. That's so sad.
Yeah.
So it sounds like she was being bullied and then just didn't have a home life and felt like she was all alone and she just hung herself. See, I don't understand why this wasn't emphasized more, because I feel like this would have been more beneficial to the audience of really like tuning in. You know what I'm saying?
Did they mention that she was bullied on the show? I can't remember.
I can't remember that specifically, but they, you know, all they said was she was in her teens. I can't remember if they said 14, 16. She hung herself, and that's how she died. It was really, and she was in a girl's home. Pretty generic. I just feel like more people would be more able to empathize, you know, if they knew the full story. Man, that's sad.
I feel like, honestly, it makes me think that it goes back to like how the bullying thing is so censored anymore.
Mhm.
Because when I was in school, there were so many assembly bullying and all this, but at the same time, it was still so like
Hush,
let's
hush.
not talk about it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was bullied really bad in high school. I was like horribly bullied. I've talked about it on the channel before. Yeah, well, I was so different, you know, like no one knew what to do with me. Like I was in dance for like most of my life. So I was on the cheerleading squad. But yet I had pink hair. God, I still do. Imagine that changing. So the cheerleaders didn't know how to deal with me because I was like not full like preppy. But then like I was a skateboarder girl and obsessed with Gwen Stefani. So then I like hung out with that crew. So like I was one of those that was just friends with everybody and nobody could quite understand it. And so I got bullied for it because I was like, no, I'm not going to pick on, you know, the gothic kids because like I'm like partially wear black all the time. And no, I'm not going to pick on the skater kids because I know how to skateboard and I hang. And no, I'm not going to pick on the jocks because I'm a dancer, you know? Yeah, I was bullying. I don't know how it's going to ever get controlled. I don't know if it ever will, but I feel like it's sad that it's still going on. Yeah. I mean, it should. It should. I mean, I won't lie and say that when I was that age from being bullied, I was suicidal. I had some suicidal tendencies just because it was depressing to like go to school constantly and be picked on. Like I had an incident where 3 girls from the cheerleading squad held me down and stabbed me with a pencil, a sharp pencil, and they ripped open my like sweater hoodie. And I was like bleeding, and I went and told the school officer what happened, and his response was, if it happens again, we'll make a report. And I'm like, I'm bleeding, dude. Like, you know, like next time, what if they like slit my throat? Like seriously, you know what I mean? So it's crazy.
For real.
They just don't deal with it.
No, like that's what all the teachers and, you know, in school would say, like, well, if it happens again, you know, or go to the principal. Nobody does anything. And that's why whenever bullying happens, someone draws a line and they deal with it themselves. They're the ones that get in trouble because they did something about it.
Well, even like the sexual harassment thing, I had an issue with that in high school.
Yeah.
There was a guy known on the football team that was older, and he would walk by the cheerleaders, and he'd put their hand up their skirt. And he did it to me on the stairs, and I turned around and I decked him in the face. And they were going to suspend me. They were going to suspend me for decking him.
Yep.
And trust me, it's not like my butt was hanging out or anything. But I went to the principal, and the principal was like, or it wasn't the actual principal, it was like the assistant principal or the vice principal. He was like, well, maybe you shouldn't have had such a short skirt on. And I'm like, I'm in my cheerleading uniform, and you're required to wear it on days of football games, like, and it's not too short, you know? Shouldn't have put his hand up my skirt, bro.
Right, and another thing is that a lot of the times, the person's not even wearing something that's revealing.
Right. Yep.
So,
I had this guy named Josh, not saying his last name because he does not deserve 5 minutes of fame, but he came up to me and kissed me and like stuck his tongue in my mouth in high school. And first of all, I was very modest. I had like one boyfriend. I was never like promiscuous. And I went and reported it because we weren't together. And my mom came in and threw a fit because once again the vice principal was like, well, he just kissed you, it's not a big deal. And I'm like, yeah, but he didn't give consent. Like, I didn't give him consent to do that, you know? So there's a problem. It's like a freaking epidemic, and clearly it's been going on since I was a kid. You're way younger, and it's still going on. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Sorry, we just did a tangent, but that's okay. That's what we do. That's what we do. We're sticking up for hope is what we're doing, right?
Yes.
Somebody needs to. Okay, let's see. Girl and boy come outside to scare you. I'm past that. Girl hung herself. Documented. Hallway. Okay, oddly, I found it interesting how, I know you missed the last 10 minutes, so you may not have seen this, but it said, I think it was the husband, was like, I was walking down here, it was when I stayed in this room, and I saw a face pop up in the window. Did you see him say that?
Wait, can you say that again? You kind of cut out.
When the husband said, I was staying in this hallway, living in this room, and I saw a face pop up in the window. Do you remember that part?
You cut out again.
Did I really? It's
Yes.
our energy. I swear. We always do this, right? Okay. He said that he was living on the same floor of this particular room, and he saw a face come up in the window.
Okay, yes, I did see that. I did catch that.
And then at the end, Aaron like popped up in the window. Did you correlate those two things, or did you?
Oh my god. That's when he scared Zach?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my! I thought it was hilarious because Zach. Well, we'll get to that part in a minute. We'll get to that in a minute. So anyway, face in the window. Yeah, that would scare me even if it wasn't Aaron. And this is when we go back to the interview about the bite marks, and the wife said they were like the size of teeth of children. And I was like, that is crazy. Like, I was still so shocked by that because I've done so many investigations and interviews, and I've never, ever heard of someone getting bite marks. I don't know. How could you have triggered that to, like try to get that to happen again? Like, would you have needed, trigger objects? Like, would you have had to call yourself the Matreon? Once again, if they would have had a female in there to use as a trigger object, right? Because even this article confirms Matreons, females that are running it. Maybe if they had a woman in there dress up as a Matreon, someone running the, girls' school, they may have gotten evidence. Which, tell me, if I got evidence of a bite mark, I'd be like, okay, I'm retiring. I got, the best paranormal evidence in the world, you know?
Oh, yeah. I agree.
So 22 graves, what did you think about that with all the little kids' graves in the side?
The what?
22 graves.
I don't know if I count. When was that?
They just showed B-roll footage of all the graves, and they said there were 22 children.
Yeah. Yes.
That's sad.
That is really sad.
I wish they could have obtained records of each of those body, or you know what I mean? Who knows if they even exist? Surely somewhere. So what did you think about the infirmary, which is the hospital for people that were sick, or the kids that were sick? To me, it seemed darker than the other building.
Yeah, that's... And I didn't want to say darker, but because we just, said all of that. But yeah, that's the best way that I can say. Describe it.
Oppressive, is that a better word?
Depressive, yeah.
Yeah. B-roll, and they're, talking about they bring in this family. It's a mom and two sisters that claim they played with a ghost child.
Yeah.
Which freaked me out.
Also, though, there's a lot of stories of, obviously, children are really susceptible to spirits and that sort of thing. So, and I think a lot of the times when you hear about a kid having an imaginary friend, I feel like that's what it is.
Legit.
Yeah.
I agree. I remember being little and my aunt's house was haunted, and I couldn't really tell the difference between the humans and the spirits, because that house has been in our home, our family, for generations and generations, so like I would hear noises and stuff, and I would think like it was just like this person. Like when I got older, I realized those people have been dead for like, 20, 30 years. All right, let's see here. Oh, one thing I wanted to ask you what you thought about, because I got freaked out by it. The sister said, my sister was mean when we were kids. She would lock me in the cupboard and she'd tie it shut, and the doctor would untie it. And then Zach said, so you guys lived with a doctor? And she goes, no, the doctor was the ghost. And did you see Zach was like,
Yes.
what? Like, he freaked out. I assumed it was a real person too. Cause she just looked so serious. She was like, yeah, the doctor unties it. And I was like, and she's like, no, the doctor was a ghost. I'm like, what is happening here? Did it freak you out?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I wasn't freaked out, but I like, was like, what?
Yeah.
But then, thinking about it, though, it would it wouldn't really freak you out as a kid, I feel like. I mean, it would, but it wouldn't if you knew that it was a spirit. But I think, like, wouldn't that mean that the doctor is good?
That was, yeah. Oh, you just did it. I knew you were going to do it. I was going to do it too.
What?
Cause like, they're like, oh, this doctor's bad, and he did say, there were some weird things that came through on the PSP 7 or PSP 11, whatever they use, spirit box, but I'm like, how can you find this as like the bad one in this, when he's actually untying to let this little girl out who's being bullied by her sister? I mean, I almost took it as, like, he's telling them you need to go home or whatever. He is a doctor. What if he could, like, sense from the other side that the dad was sick and, like, sent them home to be with their dad because he was sick? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, why did it have to be, like, dark and, like, the doctor caused him to get, like, blood clots in his lungs? I'm like, wait a second. Everybody just, like, take a step back and chill. Like, we don't know this. Let's not assume this. But if the doctor's the one saving the kids from the cupboard, I'm not going to think of him as the bad one.
Right. And I don't know. I didn't really get... I mean, I honestly don't think that the doctor is bad. I think...
I think the kids don't trust adults, and they're stuck there. Like, you know how I always say stuck in the gray zone? I think the kids are stuck there, and they don't trust adults, and they don't know where they're at or what they're doing. And they're the ones being mean. Not demonic, though. But, I mean, if I were murdered by an adult, I would probably bite one when I saw one, too. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if you get stuck. So, anyway, that was weird, though, when she was like, the doctor would untie it, and he was the ghost. So, like, what is happening? So then the mom said she heard balls bouncing, like little kids' balls. And I wish they would have used more trigger objects. Like, I know they had one ball there, but I wish they would have, like, set up some trigger objects in front of all of the X-cams just to see if something happened.
I think they had a ball and candy, I think.
Yeah. Specifically, it was organic candy.
I was like, what does it matter?
I was like, fancy. Well, and here's the inside joke, guys, is like, I'm eating ramen right now, actually, and it's vegan ramen. I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Let's see if I can get it any closer. Anyways, it's from Sprouts. It's vegan ramen. So Chanel and I are like pretty health conscious. We eat vegan together, which is fun, like having somebody that gets you, you know. So, you know, I'm health conscious, and I'm sitting there. I watched the episode before Chanel, and I was like, well, bless Zach's heart. He got them expensive organic candy. I was like, wow. He was so specific in the voiceover. We were both cracking up.
Just looking out for the ghost's health.
It's
I
true.
I get it.
It's true. It's so true. Very sweet. Seriously, I'm not like being an ass. I was like very sweet.
No, seriously.
Bacon was sitting in the car and something punched the window. And he got out and ran. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's like... I don't know.
Yeah, I mean...
I don't know.
I know. I mean, Bacon's pretty cool. He's pretty down to earth, but it was just a shame there was no audio or something over there. When, like... I guess, why was he sitting in his car so close to set? I'm kind of, you know what I'm saying? I don't know, I just have a lot of questions I wish were answered. But maybe that's, like, the producer side of me that's, you know. One thing I didn't like, though, is that Zach, or one of them, I can't remember, used the term poltergeist activity. Because there's movement. And I just don't like that term because it makes people freak out. Mainly because of the movie Poltergeist and because of Hollywood. And I was kind of like, ugh, yeah, it's technically poltergeist activity. But if you want to get, like, into the definition of poltergeist, technically people that get, like, angry, like anybody, doesn't matter who you are, if you, like, get so upset and put off enough electromagnetic fields in your own system, you can potentially cause your own poltergeist activity. I've seen it happen. Chanel, I think we've talked about it, haven't we, with, like, Kat once?
Yes. Yeah, because she said that she was having, like, things moving around in her house, and
it was times when she'd get really stressed out.
Yes.
And upset. And she was like, I think my apartment's haunted, and she was, like, saging and, like, using myrrh and, like, all this stuff, and nothing was working, and we were like, you know, Chanel and I noticed it might be you. Like, you're getting so stressed and upset about sporadic things, and that's the time that, like, things move or doors slam. So that's why I don't like the term poltergeist activity, because that doesn't necessarily mean that it's like a demon. I feel like people normally will think, like, oh, it's a demon in my house, like slamming doors. And so I don't like that. I did like, he said that, you know, like when Bacon was in the car and, like, someone punched the window, Zach said, it's like the spirits are bound to the property. I loved that term. I thought it was really accurate. I wish people would think about that more often. Sometimes people think that they can, like, demolish a house, and if the house is demolished, that it won't be haunted if they rebuild on it. And it's like, no, it's the land. And, like, in their mind, it still looks as if it was when they were there. So it doesn't matter. If it's physically gone here, it doesn't matter. Like, this is just, like, a little tip that I wanted to give out to all the fans and viewers. Eye contact when interviewing. Zach was talking about, like, he watches for eye contact with people when interviewing. It's a really good tip if you're thinking about going into paranormal or doing documentary films or production. Study psychology and communication and, like, reading body language, because it will really, really help you when you're doing interviews on set. Like, big time it will help you. So I thought that was a really good point. Credible witness, I'm trying to see where we're at. Oh, so this is when they talk about their dad got blood clots in his lungs. They sort of pin the doctor on, like, triggering or causing the blood clots, which I didn't like that. I'm glad that you felt the same, Chanel. Let's see, chocolate candies that are organic. That's my note. That's literally my note. Let's see. Okay, so now we're going into the 1941 article. So this is the other article, which is right here, that was also shown on Ghost Adventures. So it says, young boy, God, it's tiny little, whoa, it's a huge article. Young boy is badly beaten. Industrial school management to be fully investigated. Ellis Greener, Greer, Greer, E-L-L-I-S, so Ellis Greer, a 10-year-old inmate of, God, how can you call a 10-year-old an inmate? Like, especially when it, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds so, like, odd to me.
Yeah.
A 10-year-old inmate of the reform school was horribly beaten one day last week by a brute of a bodyguard, Stanley, because the boy could not keep up with the older boys in the work hoeing corn. I think it's supposed to say cornfield, but that word's missing. Monday, the boy made his escape from the school and got as far as Idaho Falls. And when the fact in connection with his mistreatment came to be known as an investigation, which started in the arrest of Stanley, and he's now in jail, and he's waiting his trial. So it sounds like the guy that was harming the child got in trouble and went to jail. But as soon as the board, there's going to be an investigation on it. But how did the kid die? I'm confused. Okay, he didn't die. He was just beaten. Okay, so that, I guess I was confused. I was under the assumption from the show that the little boy was murdered. Is that what you were, did you assume that?
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I was like, I don't know.
That's why I reread it, and it's...
That confused me.
No, he was just beaten, and he, like, escaped. And then when they found him, he was able to, like, tell and testify who hurt him, and they arrested the guy. Because this was supposed to be the little boy and girl that were like, haunting the other building.
Yeah.
That were, like, bad.
Right.
So I'm confused, I guess. A member of the board of trustees of the individual school came down last night to look into the case, and turned out to be, it's such tiny, like, missing words, because it's such an old article. I read your article last night regarding mistreatment of the little 10-year-old boy who escaped. It says, while we do not wish to minimize the harsh treatment that this boy has received, I wish to say empathetically that it was done absolutely against the knowledge of the superintendent, and it was done against the board of the trustees. No one connected with this institution is allowed to inflict corporal punishment upon any of the inmates of the school. I just find that they're children. You know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know why they ended up here, but they're still children. Like, I don't know, I just find it feels uncomfortable to read that they're calling them inmates instead of children. The man who is guilty of the outrageous, or the outrage upon the young child, has been the school has highly recommended him punishment. He has been whipping the boys, it seems, by taking them to the potato house. This is, like, completely new information. He's been taking them to the potato house where no one would see him, and he would threaten them with further violence if they told anyone about it after he would beat them. The boy that escaped is new to the school and evidently did not know what kind of punishment would be received and if it was regular or permitted. God, that is horrible. Once again, where was this history on the episode? Like, I feel like people would really be, like, into it if we had this background information, you know? Because you can sympathize with the child, like, if you're a parent, or you're an aunt, or an uncle, or a grandparent, or you have little brothers and sisters, you know?
Yeah, there's so much story there that it wasn't told. I feel like that's, like, you can't really connect with something if you don't know the history. Like, not that if you don't know the history, obviously, but if you don't know, like, all of the history. And I feel like even if you as an investigator knows, if your audience doesn't, sorry.
Well, I feel like as our job as, like, you're a camera tech videographer, I'm a producer on set. It's our job as documentarians to document the story, because I feel like that's how we're the ones telling the story and creating it for the audience. And it's like, it's too much left out. It says, this man, Stanley, was found guilty of the conduct. And he has basically no approval by the superintendent to come back. He can't be a member. Immediately upon being advised by the boy's condition, I called the superintendent of the school and told him to dismiss this man from the institution, having been arrested, which is what has been done. I am the only member of the board living in this part of the state, and immediately got communication with the other members of the board by wire and told them the circumstances. The chair of the board, God, it's just, this is a huge article. I mean, it just repeats the same stuff that... So anyway, he was not killed by beating. I don't know how he was killed. I guess we could research this name, Ellis Greer, Ellisgreer. This article itself was published Thursday, August 1st of 1912 in the Rigby Star in Rigby, Fremont County, Idaho. And it was issue number 33. So I'm just going to hang this up so you guys can see it for a second in case anybody wants to research it. Wow. I don't know. I guess I wasn't expecting to... I haven't read these because I kind of wanted to, like, be raw, you know, like with you live while we read it. So I'm kind of like just shocked by that. I feel like I didn't know what was going on. I was just under the impression that the little boy was murdered from the beating from the episode. So
Yeah.
I wonder what happened to him. Okay, so now we get back into the investigation. They have like the SLS footage, which I thought was really cool. It was like on cue. He asks Aaron to go up into the attic alone. Aaron says that it's not very settling up there. They use the Ovulus 5 in Magnum's room, where Hope lives under his bed. This is about 26 minutes in. They get... Oh, one thing I loved. Aaron said that he felt like he had spider webs on his face or on his head in the attic. Does that happen to you in investigations? Because it happens to me all the time.
Yes.
I think is it that like electromagnetic like energy, like you feel it? You think that's what it is?
Yes, for sure. Sorry.
Is it a dog?
Yeah.
I want to see the dog, Chanel.
You want to see him?
Yeah.
Come here, Parker. Hey, come here. Say hi.
Oh, he's so full of energy. How cute. Oh my god. See, we love animals, guys. Sorry. Okay, no, it's fine. Camera dies. I don't know. It was a little slow moving in my opinion for parts of it. They get like a mail to help me. Okay, 32 minutes in, Zach locks Aaron in solitary confinement.
Oh. Yeah.
First of all, I had a lot of fans tweeting at me saying that Zach had like shoved Aaron and got like physically violent with him. Well, that didn't happen. Aaron willingly walked in. But, so what's your opinion on Zach not having the key?
So, like personally, I would want to know if I was put in a room, right, and the door's locked and everything,
Right.
or it's not locked, I don't know. I would want to be reassured that I would be able to get out of the room.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
When I'm done. So, like, to have one of your crew members, to put them in a room, like, obviously knowing that they're not going to want to go in, like Aaron's situation. And then I think, was it that on the other side of the door, Aaron didn't even have like a handle?
Mm-hmm. He couldn't get out. He was like trying to pry his way out. He couldn't get out.
Yeah.
Which on one side, like the best part of that is that Aaron got to experience what little children had to endure, which I think is just like horrible. You know what I mean? Like I think it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Yeah.
But I mean, as a producer, I don't think I would. I mean, we're talking about solitary confinement here because I've investigated jails and stuff like that. There's specific keys for each room unless the doors have been completely removed. So I would have made sure I had the keys. Everybody makes mistakes. Yeah. But I think that if I did that to Chanel or one of the girls, like Aaron was clearly really upset, you know, like I just feel like they would quit. I feel like you guys would get out and you'd be like, I am done. Go F yourself. Like I'm not, you know, you're not doing that to me again. So I don't know, we get back, so Aaron's been in there for a while. Billy starts provoking a little bit. One other thing that I felt like they should have kind of, like, also added is Billy has, like, 3 or 4 stepkids, I think. And I think they're all grown, like, older. But he probably felt for the little kids, and I just feel like that would have put the audience more in tune with Billy of, like, he gets it, and that's why he was provoking, is because, like, the adults that hurt the children, you know, as a parent. Mm-hmm. And then we get into Zach's like, I'm going to go check on Aaron, and I guess one comment that I didn't like that Zach made, he said, Aaron's going crazy in the room, and it's, quote, sad to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't know, like, I was like, well, I mean, he's in a room, like he's locked in a room, he can't get out. I don't know.
Well, he's in solitary confinement. Yeah, that's sad to see. Like, of course he's going crazy. That's partially what solitary confinement does to people. So
exactly.
Oh, so anyway, I felt bad for Aaron. He scared
What
Zach.
I also,
Go
so
ahead.
what I also liked with what Aaron did before he went into the room was that he thanked Hope for protecting Magnum,
Right.
and I really liked that he mentioned that because I
Super
feel like
respectful.
she really is, yeah,
I agree. I really loved that part too. It was like that was Aaron's empath really coming out and like just
Yeah.
getting it fully, you know? Loved that, by the way. The only thing is that sucks with Aaron is, yeah, he may have understood what solitary confinement was, but now that he's been locked in the room and can't get out, which people were clearly extremely angry about,
yeah,
now they're down an investigator, they're down all of that footage, and the night's over.
right,
So that were, you know, as a producer, that would have upset me. Was like, oh, we couldn't send him anywhere else. We're down a camera. We're down an investigator, and there's, you know, there was a lot of potential that may have been lost. Especially, I think Aaron was really feeling stuff in the attic and like this, you know, or whatever it was, the upstairs. So I feel like
Right.
that was where he
Yeah.
should have been. So, oh, one last thing. The glowing anomaly. Did you see that at the very end, or did you miss that since you missed it?
Yeah, I saw that. I did.
That was cool. That was really different. I've never seen
It
anything
was
like
really
that.
cool.
So that's it.
It was different colors as well. It was like a bluish and green, I think. Right?
Yeah, it was. I don't know. I've never captured anything like that, so I was impressed by it. But I do feel bad for Aaron. Like, Zach went to check on him, and he like scared him, and he looked like he was losing it a little bit, didn't he? I mean,
Right. No, for sure. Yeah.
so sad. So sad.
Yeah.
I just felt bad for him. So anyway, there was that. So that's the full episode.
Interesting.
It's interesting. You know, this was technically, I think, one of the first episodes they had where Discovery was a part of like being involved in post-production, so I was interested to see what was going to happen.
Okay.
I think this season was where they started editing, well, officially for, you know, so I was worried that something was going to change. I don't know, I feel like everyone's vibes were a little bit off just because of the live, you know, the week before.
There was a moment during the investigation part where they sort of did like jump cuts between I think it was, I want to say, Billy holding the spirit box and Zach walking to see Eric. That I was kind of like, what's the point of the jump cuts? Is it just like for dramatic effect? I was like watching it and I was like, it doesn't really fit.
I think maybe it was like they were using it for time. Maybe like they didn't have anything else to input in that slot, you know?
Maybe.
So, I don't know. The only thing I can really take away from this is I don't think the doctor was the bad one. I think he was good, and I think that maybe he was just warning them about their father, but I don't think it was in a bad way. I don't think he caused the issues.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, Chanel, you're the best. I'm so excited. So what do you think about being on YouTube? Are you excited to be back and be a part of it?
Yes, I'm so excited. I'm sorry I'm such a mess today. I'm so like everything.
Well, when you don't feel good. When you don't feel good. Look at you being a trooper. You're like, I don't feel good and I'm still coming on.
I know, because she calls me, right, everybody, audience. I can't see
Everybody, audience.
and she's like, because I was on the phone, I was like, I'm so sick, and I remember you were like, oh no, are you going to be able to go on? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to do it.
I know, you were like, no. Oh, you know what? Is it kind of like the mummy ride?
Yeah, although I did this.
Brittany and I talked about
Brittany
and I talked about the mummy ride last night. We showed the picture. Oh my god, it was so funny. Well, we'll talk about your like experience at Universal next week when you're on Twitch. Yeah, so make sure you tune in next week. Twitch.tv/Krystal Leandra, all one word. We're gonna be on streaming Fridays and Saturdays. We're gonna be like switching off. So next week, next Friday on Twitch, Chanel will be on with me. And Twitch is, I feel like, more personal, where YouTube, we're just going to keep all of the reviews. I'm wanting you guys to get to know the crew on Twitch, you know, because it's important, obviously. We're going to be filming in the spring, season 1 of Ghost Girl Diaries. And you guys need to get to know the girls because they're really awesome. They're truly my sisters, and they're truly, you know, the best friends that I've never had, because we all just get each other. Chanel and I have some sort of weird psychic connection that is like, it's so weird. Like, sometimes we know what the other one is thinking and we haven't even talked to each other. So yeah, we all have these really cool, like, different relationships with one another. So I'm hoping that you guys will come over to Twitch, because it is free. You can subscribe, but it is free. And you can get to know the girls. And Blake will be on in another week or so. So next week on Friday is Chanel on Twitch. And on Saturday, Brittany will be on YouTube with me doing the review for Ghost Adventures next week. So I'm excited about that. I think she's a little bit nervous just because she's the newbie. But I'm excited. She's gonna kick butt. She's studying. She's doing great. Yep. And then the following week we'll have Kat and Blake on. Kat is our Erin Goodwin of the group. She is. She's ridiculous. Oh my gosh! Like, yeah, we went to Universal Studios and we were in California, and Kat was hiding behind Chanel pretty much the whole time, hanging on to Chanel's backpack, like about ready to like pull her down and like take you out. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, Kat's hilarious. So you guys will get to know her over time. So yeah, streams from now on will be on YouTube on Saturdays at 1 p.m. PST, which is my time. And Friday nights on Twitch will change because a couple of the girls are still working. Like, Kat has fully transitioned as a producer, working for me full time. But the girls are dying to move out to Vegas, and eventually once they get here, they will be full-time here. Chanel's like, please, I'm ready to go. By the way, I know that you moved, like, it got dark since we've been on, but like behind you is Pennsylvania, right? That was in, like, we saw outside a little bit earlier. It was really pretty. Like, you had all the woodsy like trees. It's very like mystical. I like it. Oh my goodness.
It was snowing earlier.
Was it?
Yeah.
I can't say that it's snowing in Vegas. I can't say that.
Oh.
I know you're jealous. I'm sorry. Oh, P.S. Let's also do a throw out to California. Our hearts are with California. Obviously, we were just there a couple of weeks ago. The girls got to see Malibu, and they got to see Santa Monica, and we were in West Hollywood, and they loved it. And so just seeing it go down in flames right now is completely heartbreaking. And so our hearts probably go out with, you know, first responders first, absolutely, just because they're putting their lives on the line. But I just hope everybody stays safe and stays alive and gets out safely before anything else. And other than that, Chanel, do you have anything else you want to add?
No.
Make sure you guys subscribe, right?
Yes, subscribe and press like and put the little bell on so that you get the notification.
Yes, yep. People are sometimes getting notifications, not always. So please subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe to our Twitch. Please subscribe to our Patreon. Patreon, we are on every single day, one of us. I am doing lenses, which is like behind the scenes stuff with production. Some of my subscribers get to see that. And yep, please subscribe to YouTube, subscribe to Patreon, subscribe to Twitch. Make sure you follow us on social media. Go follow Brittany on social media, because we'll be doing a Twitch giveaway for maybe two or three. We'll see what Brittany picks for subscriptions for our Twitch channel. And thank you guys so much for everything. Chanel, thank you so much for being on. It was so much fun. And I miss your face, girl.
You too.
I can't wait till you come back to Vegas soon. I'll see you guys later. Thanks, guys, for everything.